In this video, I'm gonna talk about 6 things that completely changed my life. And I'm then talking about massive transformation in the positive sense. They took me from the little boy that got picked upon to where I'm now, loving my life, being able to work anywhere in the world and feeling truly fulfilled. It has been a huge journey going through big ups and downs with 2 burnouts and depressions to come where I'm now. Life is not only fun, it has its own lessons, but when you're willing to go through these lessons, your life becomes more and more fulfilled. In this video I'm gonna share these 6 things and also the main lessons that I got out of them. So these are the 6 things that truly changed my life, and as you can see, they're all still hidden because it's much more fun to unpack them one by one. So let's start with the first one, and I think this is the biggest transformation in my life till now, and that was to start to walk a spiritual path. And this choice didn't come just out of a single decision. Actually, it came from a big crisis around 10 years ago. I went through 2 very big burnouts and depressions that almost made me kill myself, and from there had to happen a big change to get me again to get a fulfilled life. And I still know the exact moment that I promised myself to find out what unconditional self-love is and a true fulfilled life. One of the big changes because of it is that I have the deep inner belief that you can also give the hardest moments in your life your own value. You have the freedom and choice to start believing and thinking about them, but you choose yourself. You don't always have an influence on what happens to you in life, but you always have an influence on how you want to look at it and think about it. In that way, you can also see the hardest moments as an opportunity for growth. So you can, even in a hard moment, think, okay, I can grow from it, for instance. And looking back at my burnouts and depressions, it is one of the best things that ever happened to me because it steered me onto my spiritual path. Starting to look at things from a more spiritual way gave me a huge sense of life. I feel much more in harmony with life, and what you actually do is living much less from an I perspective and much more in a caring perspective, finding ways how you can contribute to other people's lives. You take the focus of yourself and you start just to serve much more. And this is also one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel. And I have to say that your life feels so much more meaningful when you contribute. Another thing that it brought is that I started to see the good in things and people. I stopped focusing on what would be wrong with someone and started to focus much more on the things that they do good. And when you do, there's always something to be found in what someone does well. Then the last thing that it brought is that it blew my heart wide open. I feel so much more love for myself and for everything around me. And it's just a completely different life quality, and it's something you can never find outside of you. It's something that has always been inside of you. I have to say that working on your heart and the connection with your heart is one of the most transformative things that you can do for yourself. For the second big lesson that changed my life, we have to go around the world, and it can be found in traveling. I believe that you get so many important insights through traveling. It makes you much more tolerant towards other people, and you also start realizing that you cannot group people. The biggest lesson that I got out of it was that people are good anywhere you go. It really didn't matter where I went. Wherever I went, I was welcomed with open arms and a lot of friendliness. And do you know, the funny thing is that quite often on the poorest places that I came, people were most giving. They just shared anything they had. Quite often we have this world view that there are all the time bad things happening. Well, I believe that this is just a very small part of how humans actually are. If you, for instance, go to the airport and you see by the arrival gate with how much love, family, friends and even unknown people are welcomed, it's just amazing. And also if you look for these small signs, you can find them anywhere. A mother with her child on the street, children playing. If everyone could just for one time travel and experience a multitude of cultures, I think that this world would look completely different. The general individual, and it didn't matter where I went, was kind and caring. And it also makes so much sense because everyone wants that the people around them are doing good. I believe it's innately inside of us. By experiencing this through traveling, I got much more open-minded about people around this world, and I would not so quickly say anymore, they are all like this or they are all like that. Actually, they were all much more similar than I thought before I started traveling. Then the third big thing, and this one is quite in line with the spiritual part, but I want to mention it separately because it had such a huge influence on my life, was starting with the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. This guy is for me really one of the symbols of love, and I have to say that before I started with this work, I was still heavily influenced by my burnout and I could hardly work. Now after doing it for around 4 years, I feel better, more healthy and more fulfilled than I've ever done. And his meditations were a very big part in getting me healthy again. And I have to say that when you're at a point that you almost want to kill yourself, you can hardly imagine that you would reach this again. I love that he combines spirituality with scientific research. In the Western countries, this is one of the most important things to get people to believe that, for instance, meditation really works. Look, for me, it was just a game changer in my health, and it's pretty astonishing how my life completely changed. I met amazing people, I saw incredible miracles, and I feel better than I've ever done. The thing is, you still have to do the work yourself. You have to sit with yourself, you meditate, but he gave the tools to do that. And that is just very, very beautiful. For the fourth change, we have to go back to my 23rd. And this was the moment that I started my own company. I still know exactly the moment that I was with 2 friends going to the Dutch government to write it in, completely excited. And it was just a very beautiful moment. And having my own company made me learn and teach me that it's okay to fail. Well, actually, that failure does not exist, that it are all learning moments. And it's so beautiful when you start seeing that actually quite often failure gives you the biggest learning. And by now, I believe that one of the reasons that we are here on this earth is to grow. And my company has been one of my biggest teachers. I've done a lot of things in the meantime with my company, some successful and also many failed. And what I just see is that failure is not the end point. It's a learning, it's a moment to review, maybe think, okay, how can I do this better? What should I change? And then you just choose the best approach to continue. One other thing that the company gave me is that I realized that we can create a free life. I started with nothing when I started my company. I also didn't have any financial backup, and it was just a real test, trial and error case till where I'm now. If you have something you really want to pursue and you have a passion that you want to bring into the world, I believe the most important thing is to just start. I've seen that most of the things that come afterwards just come automatically, or you learn them on their way. It's not that we have a fixed plan when you start a company. Naturally, you can do things smarter or less good, but most of them you learn on the way. The 5th life-changing change started around 1.5 years ago, and that was to learn better how my mind works. And I can tell you one thing, when you start realizing how your mind works better, you get so much more freedom. We quite often have this feeling that all these things happen to us in our life and that we have absolutely no influence on them whatsoever. But when you start truly realizing how your mind works, you start seeing that you're so much more powerful than you can even imagine. This is because more or less 95% of what we think, feel and do gets controlled by a part of our mind called the subconscious mind. The thing is that most people, including me, get never taught how to change things in here. And it's a crucial learning if you want to have real change in your life. When you change it here, your body starts following the change and will also keep doing it. We probably all have tried something like a diet, a sport maybe coming earlier, and it didn't work out. This is because you didn't change it in your subconscious mind. Now comes the good news, and that is that I made on my YouTube channel another video that goes much deeper into the subconscious mind and where I also share two very powerful techniques how you can change things in here. So have a look at this video, and I will also put a link in the description below. Then the sixth and last big change was to learn to forgive myself and others. A lot of people think that if you forgive something or someone, that you say it's okay what you did. But do you know, forgiveness is really not about that. Forgiveness is not about if something or someone was right or wrong. It is, and in my own experience also really is, the only way to truly free yourself. Free yourself of the pain that has happened to you. When you think about forgiveness, you should completely let go of the thought of doing it for the other and just think for a moment only about yourself. Let's say that something painful happened to you. By me, for instance, I was badly picked upon when I was young, and for years I was blaming and I hold on to it. Most of us do this, and then we think by holding on to it that we hurt the other, or that he will have X or I will not let him go. But to be honest, the only one that you're hurting with it is yourself. Big chance that the other one is nicely living his life and isn't thinking about you at all. And it is like wanting to poison the other, but every day poisoning yourself. Forgiveness is really about you getting free of the other person, and you deserve this. In my own experience, it's the only way of really letting go. You could even say, forgive, let go, become free. When you have forgiven, the emotional charge is gone of the event. It still doesn't say if what has happened to you is right or wrong. I will never say it's good to badly pick upon something. But the one thing that I do know is that I am free and I have no hard feelings about it anymore whatsoever. This is what forgiveness really is about. Breaking through the change of the pain that follow you and that creep upon you every day. You break through the power that the past situation or person otherwise still has over you. As long as it's still in your mind, the bad thing that happened has still power over you and you deserve it to be free. You truly do. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful practices you can ever learn. That were the 6 things that really changed my life. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you do, give it a like. I would also love to hear which things changed your life. Subscribe to my channel for future videos on self-development and spiritual development. And if you're interested in how to reprogram your subconscious mind, have a look at this video. And for now, I wish you an amazing day.